Alrighty then folks, welcome to my Thursday show, and I am super stoked for this show. Admittedly I do have to fix something, but you know, oh my god, what a week I've had. This is brilliant. Okay, so quick roundup of what's been happening this week. First of all, I've reached over 50 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you, every single one of you, and I forgot to turn that down. That's a good start. I've reached over 50 subscribers, and that is fantastic, and I thank every single one of you for being a subscriber on my YouTube channel. That is brilliant. Speaking of YouTube, one of my videos reached over 100 views, which was the introduction to the Warhammer Conquest magazine, the playlist I'm doing. 111 views last time I looked, so thank you again to every single one of you who's watched that video. That is brilliant. And while I'm in the process of thanking everybody, my third tier patrons that make all of this happen, Reese and Tim, I thank you very much. And speaking of patron, the list just there that's scrolling past is gradually getting longer, and I thank every single one of you for that as well. Oh, what a week. Alright, okay. Calm. So, thank you for joining me tonight. This is going to be fun. You might notice that there's something missing off of this base. I need to fix him. Just as I was getting ready, I kind of broke him off the model, but yeah, what can you do? So I noticed that I've got some issues going on with my my stream tonight. Some of my videos, I need to try and see if I can get this all linked up. I do have a bit of an issue when it comes to trying to get all of this all linked up and everything. I don't know if anybody wants to teach me how I'm supposed to set my encoder up so this all works as it's supposed to. Excuse me, there we go. I'm trying to get it all lined up. I really should try and get this all done before we start, but yeah, it doesn't look right. So if you're watching, where are we tonight? We are watching on YouTube, we're on Twitch, and we're on Facebook. Now, I did have a comment last week that Facebook doesn't look so good that it does on YouTube and everywhere else. I apologise for that. I think it's something to do with the fact that my encoder is running the stream to Twitch and to YouTube, but Facebook, I have to use Facebook but then use my encoder as a webcam. It's just the way it's working at the minute. So I do apologise for that. But I'm just trying to set everything up. My computer is honestly running as slow as it could possibly be right now. Let's try and do that. There we go. Get the links going on there. We should have some. There we go. So we've got some comments. If anybody comments on Facebook, I'll be able to see it, and so will you guys at home. Yes, I am all over the place at the minute. One of these days I'll get this stuff sorted. Right. So, what a week I've had, and I do thank every single one of you. And if you hit the like button on the videos, share them around, subscribe if you haven't already. That's the way it is. Now, the name of this video is a little bit misleading. Now, I know that I typed in the correct name, which was we're painting WARGAME exclusives, Imperial Deathlord. That was supposed to be the title, and I did change the description down below to reflect that, but for some reason it's broadcasting the same title as the show last week. That will change if you want to find this later on. That will change and you'll be able to find it properly. I'm not sure what went on there, but what can you do? So if you're watching along, feel free to jump in on the comments, say hello. I know I've got Reese in tonight already. If you're watching along, feel free, jump in the chat, have a chat. Got questions, throw them out there. And also as always, I'm always looking for the next project. What are we going to do next? You know, this guy isn't going to take us, you know, months and months and months to paint. What am I going to do when he's done? So feel free, throw in your comments below. Patrons do get to have a vote on that. I will shortlist all of the suggestions and possibly throw in a couple of my own, and then patrons at the end of this project will then get to vote and have their say on what they think the next project should actually be. So feel free. There are links in the comments below, but wait until the end of the stream, peruse at your leisure, and yeah. Other than that, we're going to get cracking on with this. Like I said, I broke him. So the very first thing we're going to have to do is going to have to fix him. So we'll get on with that, and yeah, we'll get cracking. How many people have we got watching tonight? We've got 3 on YouTube tonight. I know one of them is me, one of them is Reese. Who's the other one? Say hello. Right. Cough. Night. Haha. Well, yeah, I do have a night that I could do. We'll see about that. But yeah, it could be on the list. Right, so let's change the angle. So, and you'll see that I've changed things around a little bit since the last time. We are much bigger. Once that disappears, there we go. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pin this guy's leg to the model. Remember, I had that glued on there, so we had a one leg glued to the base, and then he was going to be nice and slim. I don't know what I'm talking about now. He was going to be nice and free, and then later on I could glue him. I could take that off, paint the base, and then put him on later. So, first things first, I need to temporarily attach the leg to the model. So we'll get on with that. And I do have, if anybody wants to show me what they're working on at the minute, just tag it, just there, Be of OPS Live. Let me know where you've tagged it, and I'll have a look while I'm live. I haven't quite figured out how to show everybody else what you've tagged. I might set something up that's hidden and then pop it up whenever I've got it ready. But yeah, for now, I mean, if you want to show me anything, feel free. Might give me an idea to snag. Where's the chat gone? It was working a minute ago. There we go. Ah. Yeah, if anybody wants to teach me how to use my encoder properly, feel free to drop me a message on any of the platforms that I'm at. All of my platforms are scrolling down the bottom of that screen. Because I fight with this technology every single week trying to get this going out there. And it's nice that it's getting there. It is getting better, I think, every week. Which goes to show with the amount of views I've had. And the subscribers, it's just shot up this week. I think it's something to do with the fact that I've got some slightly shorter videos on there. Anybody seen the priming video? It'd be nice to hear what you think about it. Right. So here we go. Right, so I'm going to assume that perhaps some of my new followers are going to watch, and some of you would never have seen one of these before. This is a pin vise. Essentially, it's a hand drill. I've got a tiny little drill in there. And what I'm going to use as well is some wire that comes in some picture hanging kits. And essentially, what I need to do is I need to drill a hole in his foot. I'll then find where that hole belongs in this base and drill a hole in there, and there'll be a wire going from the base into his foot. And for those of you who don't know, that is called pinning. So what we do is we just drill a hole in his foot. Doesn't really matter where the hole is, as long as we don't end up drilling through the model. We'll be alright. So we just drill that down a few mil. That should be enough. Yeah. What do we think of the angle tonight as well? I've changed this angle of this camera here. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep hitting it with my elbow, but we'll see what happens. But it seems to be in a decent place. Right, once that hole's drilled, I'm then going to pop that in the hole, like that. And I need some super glue for that. which you didn't see me add, but there's a little dollop of super glue on the end of that, and that pops in there. Now the wire is a little bit smaller than the hole, so I'm just going to hold it for a sec while I grab some clippers, and then we're going to clip that off. Eventually. There we go. So that's now stuck in there. What have I got going on there? I've got some likes on my Instagram, that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to dip the end of the pin in some paint. You can't really see very well because there is just a small amount of paint on the end. The camera box you're in, you're drifting into it a bit, so I can't see what you're doing. Okay, thank you. I'll keep an eye on that. Try and keep it nice and tight. So I've got some paint on the end of the pin. I'm going to line this up to where I need him to go, which is about there. About really isn't good enough, to be fair. You do need it as close as possible. So hopefully I can see there is a tiny drop. It's so small you can't see it on the camera, but I can see it. A tiny little dot of magnetic paint, metallic paint. Have I got my sticky thing? Have I got my stabby thing knocking around? I don't think I do. Ah, rats. Ah, there it is. Oh, me stabby thing. Just a spike on the end. And I just need to find where that metallic paint is and make a dent in the resin of the base. And that'll just mean that my drill shouldn't drift as I drill into the base. Now this isn't going to be super accurate, but hopefully it'll be close enough. The most important part of this bit is obviously drilling down far enough. Hang on a minute, what's going on here? Let's tighten that back up, my drill stops spinning. What's going on here? The trick to this bit is making sure you've drilled down far enough that the model bottoms out on the pin. So you see that little dust on the end of the bit of resin dust on the end there. Just need to make sure that that is longer than the pin, which it is. So grab some of this on the end, nice little dollop there on the pin itself, and then on his foot, because essentially we need a bit more surface contact. Find the hole, slide that in. Yeah, this is the tricky bit, trying to slot that into the hole. He's drifted a bit. He's drifted quite a bit actually. Hopefully that's going to be okay. I could end up having to redo this hole. He's drifted quite far over. Hopefully if I hold that I can pull that out. Don't need to worry about the super glue at the blue tack at the moment. Just need to hope that super glue holds. What I might do is, because this is quite a rough base, I could squeeze some more super glue down there. It's going to fill up some of the hole, but once that dries that'll be alright, and as long as it doesn't frost the model too much when it's drying, it should be alright. A little bit of first aid. It's not ideal. It's a bit of a shame that I dropped it. But yeah, that should be alright. So we need to leave that to dry for a bit. Meanwhile, I'll come back over to this guy. Now, if you weren't here last week, I tried something new. I tried doing myself a little bit of blending on his cloak there. And for anybody who's watching for the first time, that's kind of the idea of this show. I just play around and I try things I haven't done before. I don't paint commissions on this show. I'll do a project, and sometimes I'll have an idea and I just want to see if it works, and because they're my models, yeah, I can practice. So I'm reasonably happy that there is a bit of a gradient. There is some obvious marks where, you know, the gradient changes, but what I want to do is just on the very fine tips, I just want to stick in a final highlight just to make those edges pop much more than they have done already. I think I used Dawnstone last week, so I am going to try and use some Eshin Grey. No, I think I used Dawnstone. I am going to use some Admin Grey, I think. And I'm just going to pop a fine highlight right on the tip, right on the edge of every single one of those ridges that he's got going on. I need a paintbrush handy as well. You can see I'm not prepared tonight at all, not in the slightest. Right, so what we're going to do is grab some of this paint, and we're literally along the edge here. Now normally when it comes to cloaks and so on and so forth, I'm normally dry brushing them. But again, it was a discussion we had in the show last week about whether I should try and edge highlight this guy or dry brush it. I can't remember exactly how we came to the decision, but we figured it would be best to edge highlight everything. So that's what I'm trying to do. So just running a fine line just along the creases. I think I did enjoy doing the blend and the layering of the this guy's cloak, and I do want to try it again sometime in the future. I think the biggest problem I did was I didn't do quite enough layers. I wanted to get them done in the show, and I didn't quite get enough layers down to really make it kind of work. So we will see. Right. So the plan tonight, obviously, with this guy is, I don't know if I said it last week or not, but I want to get all the metallics done if I can. And if it's a nice busy show, we might even get to do some more. Concentrate getting these lines as thin as possible. Reese is obviously the queen of edge highlighting. She's fantastic at doing this. I tend to not do it very well, so I tend to dry brush everything. It just makes life easier. But I think that's coming out alright. I mean, that's, you know, I think if you can just about see it, I think it's because it's quite dark and quite shiny. I think you can just about see where those transitions are, and it's not brilliant. But I'm hoping that this edge highlight will help with that. And then what I might do as well is I might stick a wash over it, Nuln Oil, because it's quite, again, it's quite shiny, so that's not very helpful. And I think if I give it a wash of Nuln Oil, it might help reduce the contrast between the layers. It might just about tie them all together to the point where it actually looks pretty good. We'll have to see on that one. The Nuln Oil wash, of course, will happen right at the end, just before I put the model down for the rest of the week. That means it won't be running everywhere, and I won't have to touch it for a week while it dries. That's something else if you're new to watching this show. This is a project that I started live, and I do the entire project live, week on week. And from Thursday to Thursday, I don't touch the model until the following week, and that way you can get to see the entire thing from start to finish. And so if I do try anything, or if I do ever make any mistakes, you will see them. Whoops. Not even sure what happened there. Right. And carefully adding a highlight just to the edge of all of this cloak. Looks like the rain started again. I think my window's open behind me, isn't it? I'll have to go and close that in a second. Right, and that angle there is not particularly sharp, but I think I can just about get. Oh, look at that! Oh, 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 oh! Oh yeah! I like that. There we go. Right, so I don't think I'm going to bother with a highlight in there because it's quite flat. There is a highlight going on with the Eshin Grey and Dawnstone, but it's not worth highlighting that. But I do want to go along here as well. out to something quite flat, so I'm not going to highlight any further than that. There we go. Right. So the overall plan for this now is to start adding in the I should be able to squeeze that back together now. I do like this model. It doesn't go together very well. It's not like, you know, a nice piece of plastic that kind of slots together brilliantly. But I'm going to put him back together again because I'm going to look at the whole thing. That, I think, yeah, let's have a look at that. That there, I think that's a reasonably decent cloak. I know it's shiny, but yeah, that's come out alright. I'm quite happy with that. Right, okie dokie. Just clean that off. Come on, there we go. Clean out of there. There we go. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I want to start picking out some of these gold bits and pieces he's got going on. I think that's going to be quite cool. You should start seeing him come together a bit. If I can start picking out those gold bits. And with the new Conquest magazine, I've got plenty of gold paint. So I think I've just opened a brand new one when I didn't need to, but never mind. Haha, now I understand how people have got so many open bottles of paint. Pick up the wrong one and then open it. Right, I did have, oh, they're over here, some Conquest magazine brushes. I'm going to give these a try. See if they're any good. Make a fantastic brush to use for my metallics. So this is quite a complicated one because he's not actually Mephiston. We don't really know exactly how to paint him. Kind of just have to make it up as you go along. So I'm going to try my best to pick out what needs to be picked out and hope I do a good job. I do want to get the gold done tonight, and I'm hoping to get the rest of the metallics, like I've already said. The gold specifically. Because once the gold's done, he's no longer a big lump of red and black resin. He's now, you know, he's starting to come together, and you start seeing some of the processes that you need to go through to finish him off. So we're going to get the gold done first, then the silvers. Let's see what happens. There's so much detail on this model. It's so clean detail. It's a lot of clean detail as well. It's clearly defined. It's not like you have to kind of figure out what it is you're trying to paint. You can see exactly what it is and how you need to paint it. It's quite refreshing. Well, I say that and then stop to try and figure out what I want to paint gold. It's so easy to drift out of that camera shot, isn't it? I mean, it's because it's so close. I want you guys to see what I'm doing, but because it's so close, I have very little movement available to me. If I do want to change position or something, I really don't have much movement to do. if I give myself more movement to move, you guys aren't going to see what I'm doing. Right, I know I need to do the other half of that, but that's in the way, so I can, once I've figured out what I want to do on the rest of the model, I can move that out of the way. Move the cape out of the way. Yeah, that's not very handy. There's a stray hair. See that right on the end of the brush? Let's see if that helps. A single hair flapping around isn't going to do you any favours. So, I want to get some of this detailing in gold. What else do we want to do? His belt buckle. He's got a skull on there. We'll do that in bone. That belt buckle going on there. Those brushes are good. They seem to be all right. I mean, I'm giving them a good run for their money. I've got his hair right on the end. It's doing my head in. I think it's getting longer. I don't like it. I can't control one hair at the end of the brush. So we'll just pop the gold around his buckle there. I think down the end here. Seems to be quite a quiet night tonight. I know Wayne wanted to watch along. He's taking his daughter out, so he might watch it later. But I've come to the conclusion these live shows are never going to be busy. Not until I start getting thousands of subscribers, I imagine. Ah! Wayne's just joined on Facebook. Thank you very much. You joined me just as I finished I did have a bit of a mishap with the model before I started. I fixed him, and I'm doing the gold now. Want to at least get the gold on this guy finished. Ah, you're only just going from work. That's fair enough. Yeah, watch the whole thing on YouTube if you want later. Just so you know, I mean this Thursday night show is all about, you know, me flexing what I can do, me learning new things. You can always feel free to throw some comments down, ask some questions about what I'm doing. And also offer your suggestions about what you might want to see me paint as a project in the future. These projects always go from start to finish, so if I don't get this guy finished tonight, I'll be carrying on with him next Thursday. And every Thursday until he's finished. Going now, so we've got some, he's got his belt buckle going on there, he's got some stuff around his thighs. I think I missed a bit here. Yeah, this Citadel brush is falling apart, honestly. Let me just have a look at this a second. What have we got going on? Got one hair that seems to be completely out of whack with everything else. That one there. Brush connoisseurs, look away now. And, oh, that was doing my head in, that was. Right, let's see if that behaves now. I thought you were the master. Oh, I just your Padawan. I think I'm pretty good at painting, to be fair. It's just this blasted brush. Yeah, this is one from Conquest. It's I mean the other one's okay. I mean these Citadel brushes, I'm not a particular fan. I'm not a fan of Citadel brushes, to be fair. Well, to be honest with you, these are the only ones I've used. I do like my Series 7s, but I think in the interest of you know, knowing what I'm talking about, I figured, you know, I've got these Citadel brushes, I might as well give them a good shot. And as a Patreon, Wayne, you'll be able to see the a new video if you've already seen it on the Patreon page. You should be able to see it. I talk about brushes in that one. And essentially how brushes are very, very specific to individuals. You know, one man's what was it called? One man's trash, another man's treasure, and all that sort of stuff. Personally, I don't think this brush is all that great. It saves my Series 7's being clogged up with metallic paint though, which is good. So how are we doing with this? I think he's coming along. He's doing alright. I'm struggling to keep the thing together at the minute. It's I don't want to keep holding it though, that's the problem. If I keep holding the model, the paint's going to start coming off of my fingers. Right, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do the entire rib? So, how do I want to do this? Right, I'm going to show this out to you guys now. How do I want to do this? Now, there's a chalice. I don't know if you can see. Can I get the focus right on there? He's got a chalice, which is going to be gold, which is framed by a couple of white wings. Shall I do the entire frame around that in gold as well? What do you reckon? Feel free to comment. Meanwhile, I'll paint the chalice. Gold's taking longer than I was expecting. I was kind of half expecting to have the gold done by now. And there's actually, they've snuck a little blood drop around the back in here. Just deep inside here. That's the chalice done. Have we got any suggestions whether I should do the rim in gold or not? I think this definitely needs to be gold. started raining again and I still haven't got my window closed. Righty-ho. There's that. That looks cool, I like that. Yeah, right. So we're going to go around here. There we go, I think that's alright in gold actually. Where did the Facebook comments go? I'm sure they were on the screen at one point, weren't they? I think that looks quite good when it's with that gold right the way around there. And once I do the white on the wings as well, that is going to look awesome. What have we got on time wise? 20 past 7. That's alright. What's this? Rago followed me on Twitch. Is that Rago? Is that how I say it? Either way, thank you very much for that follow. Pretty happy with the way that that looks. One thing I do notice though is really dark on my screen. What's that? Hang on a minute. You see, Wayne's been talking to me and I haven't been seeing it because I have to scroll down on my Facebook. What's this? The primer video yesterday was very useful, I think. Good. I'm glad you like that. I've had a lot of people talking to me about liking that. And they're back, yeah. The videos are back. What have we got? No problem from Rago. Well, thank you very much for the follow. So I've got all of me comments are working now. Although it does mean that I'm going to have to keep an eye on Facebook to keep scrolling down, which is really annoying. Right. Okay, so we've got his chest. I'm feeling there's something missing from his chest here, but I think I've got a couple of these vents here. I don't know if I should do them gold or silver. I think in silver they should look alright. So we'll see how they go. I'm not even concentrating on his sword at the minute, so we'll carry on coming around to this shoulder pad, and I need some more paint in the palette. No, it's not you on Twitch, Wayne. It's the screen name of Rago, which is kind of cool. When I'm doing these multi-streams, I have a feeling it could start getting a little bit confusing, where I'm talking to lots of people at once. But it's why I've got all of the chat on the screen, so that you can see, so that you're able to see who you've got. What's easier to watch on? Whoops, and I knew I was going to punch it at one point tonight. What's easier to watch on? Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube? Well, Facebook is accessible for most people, because most people already have a Facebook account. YouTube, however, the problem with Facebook, as you can see tonight, I've suddenly have an issue with trying to keep up with what people are saying. Twitch, I'm not so sure yet. It seems to be a reasonable platform to be live, and I've got the comments right in front of me on my phone. I don't know what the quality is. If anybody wants to talk to me about what the quality looks like on Twitch while I'm live. And YouTube is YouTube, and lots of people use YouTube, and I've got the comments on my tablet right there, so I can keep an eye on that. And yeah, and I think YouTube quality is pretty good as well. Looking forward to seeing this guy in person next week. Yeah, you should. Yeah, he looks better. To be honest with you, I mean, the camera, the lighting here, for some reason, does not bring out. He is much brighter than that. That gold is really popping against the red. I might have to have a look to see if I can do that. You'll try that for next time. Yeah, feel free to try anywhere you want. I mean, it's kind of one of the things that I wanted to do early on with doing these live shows. I wanted to be in as many places as possible at the same time. The idea being is that you can view it in whatever way suits you. If you want to try Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, or yeah, those three, whichever is the best, whichever is your preferred method. Twitch, the user interface is a little bit difficult to get used to. So you know, I have been looking around on Twitch and seeing all sorts of different things that people have on their screens, and it's kind of cool and funky, and when you cheer it pops up and makes a loud noise and all sorts. But I don't know. It's whichever suits you. That's why I wanted to be, and that's why when I started the Patreon, the very first pledge, the very first target was the ability to stream everywhere. Not for maximum, not necessarily just for maximum reach, but also for viewer comfort. You know, at the end of the day, if nobody watches this stuff, there's not really any point in doing it. And there's not really any point in doing it if people are not happy about how they're watching it. Which is why I'm everywhere. And I keep having to go down on there. And there's also no set length to these streams either. You know, I start at 6:30 because that's when the missus goes out with the girls, and I will end the stream whenever I get to either a natural stopping point of the model and when there's nobody talking. When there's if there's not many people watching, and I'm not really doing a lot of talking, people aren't interested in what I'm doing, then that'll be when the stream stops as well. It won't be abrupt, of course. I will say goodbye and thank you for watching. But yeah, if you're really enjoying what you're watching, feel free to jump in and start chatting, because then I know you're interested in what's going on, as you are doing, of course. Hi James, thank you for joining us over on Facebook. Right, let's get in the back there. That's looking alright. I'm a bit disappointed with the light here, actually, it not showing up quite so well on camera. Because to be honest, I'm looking at the screen in front of me, and this looks much better when I look down at the model than I do looking at the camera, looking at the screen. But as always, actually, if you guys are following me on Instagram, you will be able to see a picture of this thing when it's finished. Or sorry, I'll post a picture when I finished streaming. Oh, I can't get my words out. I need to ask you. Another master painter has joined. Yes, indeed. In fact, James is actually one of those painters that I've aspired to be since I started, to be honest. I need to ask you how to set up streaming on Twitch. Do you have an encoder? I use XSplit. Other people use something called OBS, which I can never get on with. And essentially, you set up an encoder on your computer, and then you sign into your social media via the encoder, and you can then start streaming on Twitch, YouTube or Facebook, and you can pay for a subscription to be able to do all three at the same time, which is what I'm doing now. If you need more information, obviously I can give you links and everything while I'm not streaming. If you want to send me a message, and I'll have a chat. But on the whole, it's just yeah, you just set up an encoder, sign in, and then you can start streaming. It was pretty much, I mean, I've managed to set it up, and quite frankly I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing most of the time, which is why all I've got is some simple camera shots and some chat. You do is ask it via Messenger, mate. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, send me a message. Gotta go sort dinner, so we'll catch you the whole video on YouTube. Thank you very much, Wayne. Yeah, I'll catch you later. Next time I'll be on will be Monday, hopefully, if the magazines arrive. Almost finished with the gold, and then hopefully I can get cracking on with the silver or the gunmetal. Difficult to keep some of this stuff in shot because of the angle of the model. Right. I don't actually think there's anything needed to be done on the arms gold wise or... the backpack, there's got that blood drop in the centre, that needs to be done. All of a sudden I had a bunch of likes coming through, what's that? Some people liking my pictures. Have we got anything else to keep up with on Facebook? Nope. Bring up the comments again. You'll be streaming Monday and Thursday on Instagram from 8, and then hopefully move forward from there. But for now, I'm off to watch some weird film about robots. Have a safe one. Yeah, alright. Ta-ra, James. Actually, ironically, that's when I finish streaming most of the time, which is nice. Not going to have any streaming competition going on there. Notice the chat hasn't seemed to have caught up on screen for that though. Never mind. It's nice having people pop in and out and have a chat. Keeps me going. Right, this is one of those awkward parts where I need to move it so I can see it, but the camera can't. Right, how are we going to do this? I think... I don't know, I'm going to paint this all gold. I'm not sure, I might end up changing my mind on this. I'm really not sure how to paint this so that it looks awesome. One of the things about this WARGAME exclusive model though is they don't paint like it doesn't look like they paint any of their models for the website, so it's all kind of, it's definitely a blank canvas for you to do what you want on, which is kind of cool because you don't get any kind of preconceived notions about what it should look like when you're done. But it can be difficult sometimes to kind of, sometimes you're trying to consider, you know, what was the artist's intention when he made this the way it is, you know, what was he thinking it was made of, so that then you can then do the same thing with your painting, and you can kind of, you know, match up the sculptor's intention with your painting. But you get a little bit difficult if you don't have if you've only got a blank canvas to work with, and you kind of fill those answers yourself. Can't see what I'm doing with the chat boxes. The screen's a little crowded. Yeah, I think what I might do is I might remove, if I do it now, if I remove Twitch chat and then Facebook comments, if I move them across and drag them, is it going to drag down? Oh, I can't drag them down. So just bear with me a sec. hopefully that's a little bit better. Hi Jason, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. We're having a busy one tonight. Lots of people coming and going. Right, I think... oh no, I missed a bit. On the back of the hilt here. What's going on with my Facebook stream? With my YouTube stream? There we go. Not too bad, not too bad, thank you Jason. It's been one hell of a week for me over here. Especially on my YouTube channel. I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with how it's been going recently. Right, I think I am reasonably happy with the amount of gold that I've blocked out there. So I'll take that off of there and finish off this leg. If you remember really early on I was saying I couldn't really get to finish the leg because there was bits in the way, namely his cloak. So we're going to get in here and finish that off now. Side of the skull as well, wasn't there? Just the other side here. Oh, there we go. I do notice you get glimpses of just how shiny this is with the camera, and then all of a sudden it will compensate and then throw everything in darkness. It really is bright and shiny, honest. Right, how are we doing with the gold? I think that's the gold done. So that's helpful. There we go. Go, he's coming along nicely. Look at that. There we go. All that gold done. Right. So, are we going to wash that first, or shall we do the silver next? Oh, I missed a bit. Oh, look at that. Oh, no. It's typical, isn't it? You just think you've done it, you wash your brush out, and then you find a bit that you missed. Just on the inside of that. You missed that. Oh, I missed that side as well. I didn't even do any of the inside of this one here. That's annoying. coming along nicely, I think. Alright, let's get started on cracking. I'll tell you what I'll do is I will throw down some of the silver stuff, some of the gunmetal and so on, and then I will wash it all just before I leave, and that way the wash isn't going to get in the way of the stream, and the wash will all be nice and dry, ready for highlighting next week, which will be perfect, because it means you guys don't have to sit there watching paint dry. Which also means I have to be really careful, because if you're lucky, you guys will see me absolutely mess it up. But once I can block out some of these colours, he should start coming together a bit. And especially on the Instagram picture that I'll be putting up, you should be able to start seeing a really awesome kind of... You should start seeing how this model's going to look like when he's done. To assume, hang on, don't need to fill that in. I'm going to try something actually later on. I am going to try something, and it might work, it might not. But I'm going to see. Can you guys see all of that engraving along that sword? At some point I'm going to see if I can get that filled in with blue and leaving the rest of it silver. I'm going to see if I can get that done. I need to make sure that's nice and... I need to make sure all of the paint in there is nice and thin, so I keep as much of that detail available as possible. That's the plan. See if I can get that, because I don't want to do that as a... Yeah, I don't want to do it as like a lightning kind of effect on the sword. I'm going to see if I can get that blue, so that the psychic power is essentially embedded in the sword rather than it being like what a force sword usually looks like, with the lightning crackling around it. See if we can do something different. I mean, it is a different model after all. Hashtag honestly it's not my fisting. Same thing on this side as well. I really want to see if I can do that, if I can fill that in with silver, with blue. I know how I'm going to do it, I know how to do it, I just don't know if it's going to work, whether I have the skill to do it or not. That's going to be interesting. Going on here, all of a sudden the paint's not sticking to the model. I did wash that. Why isn't the paint sticking? have to leave that to dry and go back over that again in a minute. Just need to go around and picking out any more silver bits. Well, that's getting a bit sloppy around there, isn't it? That wasn't, that's not brilliant. Can't really see it, but I've gone way over that. Not too happy about that. I must be rushing, I must be getting towards the end of something. Does everybody else have that problem? You get towards the end of a part of a project, you start rushing and then you realise you're making ridiculous mistakes. Some of these wires in the back here. I do this before I end up doing the front end where all his hair and everything is, and that way I don't mind getting paint on his head. It would really suck if I'd have done all of his face and all of his head and his hair and a fantastic mullet of his. I need to go and cover it in silver paint. It's not covering very well either, so I'm going to have to come back and do that again. Right, what else are we looking at? We're looking at his chain. Actually, that book could have had some gold on it as well. Right, we can come back and do that another time. I honestly don't think this model is really going to take many more weeks, actually, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of there's some fiddly little bits of highlighting left to do on the metallics. And yeah, I've got the white, the bone and his face to do. But I think on the whole there won't be many more of these videos for this guy. And why, pray tell, do I make a point of telling you that? Is that you can feel free to throw down your suggestions what the next model should be that I do. I don't tend to like doing squads on this show because they would take too long, and batch painting the same thing over and over again would get rubbish. If you got any model ideas, Reese has already thrown Knight into the mix there. Just bearing in mind, whatever we do, it will be built and painted live week after week. And before you start throwing up lots and lots of suggestions, don't forget, I've got to pay for this stuff. So if you want to help support the channel to buy bigger and better models, feel free to have a look at Patreon as well if you want to help support the channel, in which case I would be able to then pretty much take any situation, any suggestion under advisement. As it is, of course, sometimes I'll have to just ignore some of the suggestions purely on the price. It just so happens the reason why Reese keeps talking about a Knight is she knows that I've got a Knight knocking about, unpainted, unbuilt, in a box. So there's a possibility that that will be the next one if there's no other options available. What are the options? Well, currently the only thing I've got at the moment is a Knight, an attack bike, a Terminator Captain. I've got one of those knocking about, and then I've got a couple of squads knocking around. I've also got the option of possibly doing some of the Warhammer Conquest models. That is a set of models that I'm collecting. I could, for argument's sake, do one of those models as I would paint it, rather than waiting until you've got the paints available in the Conquest magazine. Which I will be doing, that will be something else as well. There will be a series of videos about painting your Conquest models, but doing it gradually as and when the models and paints become available. But I mean, I do have the paints available to paint those models as I would paint them. So you'd love to see the attack bike done. Well, yeah, there's another option for you. And anybody who's watching along, patrons from $1 and above all get the chance to vote from a shortlist, which, you know, we're currently creating the shortlist. But from as little as $1 a month, you can jump in on the vote for what the next models are. Maybe set me a challenge to paint one of those models on one stream. Oh, that's a hell of a challenge. I mean, most of my streams are only about an hour and a half long. The problem with one of those challenges with speed painting is, I mean, to be fair, you know, it kind of comes down to the painter. But you'd have a choice. You either have speed or quality. You don't tend to have both. And there'll be a lot of dry brushing involved. Because you just generally do not have the time to be able to paint with any kind of accuracy. Certainly trying to edge highlight it with accuracy when you're trying to paint a model within an hour and a half. And then you've got washes to worry about on top of that. Could be an idea, wouldn't it? But they're all options. And you know, as patrons, you will get the option to be able to vote and have your say about what you think would be next from the shortlist. There are some things available to higher patrons. I'm currently doing a bit of a secret project for my patrons at the minute. You guys will get to see the finished result even if you're not a patron, so don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything. But they get to see it being made and on the go. Was this just watched me on Twitch? Oh, hang on, let's go further down because I think it's I've got rid of the what's it. Just watched you on Twitch, not Fuzzy, but you didn't see my comment. No, sorry, I didn't see a comment. Yeah, it's because I've had a comment about the Twitch feed was kind of filling everything up on the screen. You couldn't really see much, so it didn't pop up on my screen. Watch the comment feed on the left of the screen that's on YouTube. So you got YouTube right on that side, and then you've now got Facebook at the bottom. Twitch kind of was getting in the way because not many people were using it, and my phone fell down, so I wasn't watching the stream, I'm afraid. But Twitch is pretty good for clarity, so that's handy. I'm glad about that. Righty-ho. I think that is all of the silver done. Let's just wash my brush. I wanted to get the that book. I wanted to get that book done in gold, didn't I? Right on the edge of that book. And then, although actually no, I tell you what I'm going to do is I want to do it in gold just so that, well, maybe to remind myself. But actually I need to do the leather of that book first, because otherwise I'm going to make a mess of the what's it. So let's pop that back together. Alrighty then. So what I'm going to need to do, right, I'm going to end this stream reasonably quick soon, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start base coating the bits that I'm going to take as white, because once I've done that I can wash it black, and because it needs washing black I can do all the rest of the washing at the same time, and that will give me a reasonable place to stop so that I can let it dry, because otherwise what's going to end up happening is I'm going to get too far ahead, and then I'm going to have trouble washing it. It's not fuzzy on YouTube either. No, I tell you what I think it is that, as I was saying earlier, with Twitch and YouTube, I've got a program on my computer, and from that program I'm then streaming onto YouTube and Twitch. And on Facebook I have to go to Facebook, click Facebook Live, and then essentially use that program as the webcam. And I think that's where the problem for Facebook is, but I can't quite figure out how to get Facebook to accept. No, I can't quite figure out how to get my encoder, which is a program, to stream directly to Facebook. With Reese here, we now have 3 master painters. Exactly. You can learn a lot watching this, and yeah, and especially when I get on with the rest of my videos that I've got coming up. Got lots of videos coming up. And you patrons have already had a sneak peek of the next video that's coming, and I hope you found that useful. And if you download, I think Reese will tell you this, if you download the Patreon app for your mobile phone, you get notified when I post one of those posts. It'll come through like a regular notification, and so you'll be able to see those things as soon as they arrive. And for you guys that are not patrons, don't worry, you will get to see the video in around about, well, I think it'll either be Wednesday or Thursday next week that I'll release that as a standard video, just to go alongside the Conquest magazines, and then hopefully in the future we'll start getting more and more complicated, where I will paint. I tell you what I will do is I will paint this guy, that one there. I will paint him as an ultramarine in my how to paint videos, because essentially most of the people watching it are going to have the Conquest magazines. But then doing what you said, Reese, about painting some of those models on here, how I would paint them, that could be a good idea. Especially, oh, I tell you what, I've got those Death Guard coming. And I've never painted Death Guard before, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. So having Death Guards and using this show to practice on them, which is what this show's about, is me doing my thing and learning things as I go along and practicing. Might be a good idea. So maybe we'll throw a Death Guard model in the into the mix for the Patreon vote. Right. Oh, where's the rest of his wings? This guy's got white all over him in various places. I missed something down there. Right, move around looking for all of these wings that he's got going on. And there's always you can always feel free to throw suggestions, even though I've got 2 very different shows. I got this one on a Thursday, which is my project, my painting, what I want to do. I've got the Monday show, which is about the Conquest magazine, which hopefully will be this week if they arrive on time. But feel free to throw your suggestions about what videos you might want to watch, what videos you might want to see, or even if you've got a specific show that you think might work. Maybe either a live show or You know, something simple to record that I could release on the same day of every week for you guys to watch. Just feel free, throw suggestions down there, because at the end of the day, like I've said many times before, this channel is not really for me. It's for you guys watching. I mean, if you want to watch something, feel free to suggest it, because at the end of the day, there's no point in me doing what I think is cool and you guys not like it. And if you're not watching it, there's no point in doing it. So all of your suggestions are welcome. Whether I implement them all, or whether it's possible for me to implement them all, is another matter. But feel free to throw those suggestions down whenever you want. Tip of the day, tip of the week. That's kind of a nice idea. I like that. I did have Tim. He was asking me how to paint yellow, and I've got a fairly reasonable way of doing that, which isn't too difficult. I mean, the biggest problem I've got with doing those sort of tips and so on and so forth is that it's difficult to kind of implement without wasting miniatures. I mean, yeah, you could end up, I suppose I could strip them after each one and then do something else. But again, that's time on top of that. And you know, as you know, I am supposed to be doing commissions as well, so I do have a lot of time taken up doing that. But yeah, ideas, you know, throw them out there. I mean, it's something nice. If you guys want to see me doing something, if I could do it once a day, I would. But once a week, a tip, a suggestion. But what would come with that, if I started doing tip of the day, is throwing out what tips you want to see. You know, what problems are you having? Conquest is perfect for that. It is. It would be, but the problem is that I'd want to use the models. You know, I'm paying for them, so a lot of those models are going to become Blood Angels. So I don't really want to be spending that kind of money, because it is my money at the moment. I don't get enough. I haven't got enough patronage to pay for that. So you know, a lot of them are coming in, and I'm going to want to use them for myself. So throwing paint at a model only for it to be, you know, stripped the following week because I don't need any yellow. It's kind of a balancing act there. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this guy, for argument's sake, he's going to be painted blue because I put him together exactly like the sergeant's meant to be from the box. You know, he is, you know, that is that. Oh, actually, considering it, if you've seen the primer video, you can see now, if I get him there, you can see how that primer, it went on thick in that video, but now he's been sat there. It's been about 24 hours since I primed him, and you can see how all of that detail is now popping. Yeah, you can see that primer has really come out of that. So you can see, you know, it looks like it's gone on thick, but once the aerosols and the propellants have evaporated, the pigment of the primer then sucks to the model. What problems do I have with painting? Everything. Wow. We'll get you there, Wayne. I tell you, we'll get you there, because I will use Conquest to teach you how to paint, and to do it easily for a start. You know, I mean, I don't want to sound like I am wary about a lot of those videos might start sounding a little bit patronizing, and I don't mean them to be, but I am really trying to cover every single base. And like the preview video you've seen, I won't give too much away about that one, but you know, it is kind of like sucking eggs, but you know, there are some things in there, and I don't want to, yeah, I want to go through every little detail, and I want to teach people how to paint. And that's what I mean, paint well from the start as well. And that's why I was really upset. I mean, somebody did make a comment on the video that I did about primers, or was it on a comment on Facebook? I can't remember where. But I did point out, they did point out that yeah, GW don't actually do a brush on primer anymore. I think they used to do Imperial primer, but they don't do it anymore. Which is why in Conquest they never actually told you, you know, how to prime a model. Which is, yeah, but it's a bit of a cheap way out of it. You know, teach people how to prime a model, you know. Lose a couple of quid from people buying their primer from town. But that's why I put that in, that's why I did that video about it. It's because, you know, paint properly from the start and then you should get it well. You should get there from the beginning. You don't want to be messing around not painting properly the first time you paint. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it might do. I think that train of thought left the station long before I'd finished talking. Right, so we're just going to start on the wash now. This will be the last thing I do tonight. I'm going to do the wash. I got Nuln oil on the silver and on the. I didn't actually say what I was doing, did I? I used Vallejo grey. What was it? Heavy blue grey for my whites. I think it is Ulthuan grey. I think is the GW equivalent to that, but I couldn't be sure. So we're just going to pop on the wash on the white and the gold, throw a wash on the cloak, and I think that'll be it for the night. Gives us a nice place for it to stop so that we can then carry on next week once the wash has dried nicely. Try not to let the wash go into that sword too much. I've had my missus keep opening the door behind me. She's thinks she's trying to tell me my dinner's done. So we'll get this done here. Just touching all the silver and all that grey. But like we're talking about all your suggestions and so on and so forth, just because I'm not live doesn't mean you can't throw me the suggestions at me. Either on any of the videos that I've got on YouTube, throw them at me in Messenger, on all of my social media, feel free. I'm always about. I've actually realised I actually had some people talking to me on Twitter recently, and I completely missed it. I'm not particularly active on Twitter, because I don't really fully understand how it goes, but you know, feel free to use it and message me. I will get to it eventually, and like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to try and give the cloak a wash, see if I can get some of those blends to flatten out a bit nicer, which is why I'm doing the wash at the end of the video. Gosh, I started with Imperial Blade, did an entire fell blade with it. Jesus! Now that is a lot of brush on primer. I did have somebody on Twitter ask me about, you know, because I mentioned about I use an airbrush to prime, as opposed to rattle can anyway, which is why I needed to go to town in the first place to buy the primer. So there probably will be a video in the future about airbrushing, which is a little bit more advanced than the Conquest guys. Certainly if you're new to the hobby, because you won't have a primer. And I've completely missed some. That's supposed to be white. I'm going to do that white at the top there as well. I might do that off camera. I don't tend to do a lot of painting off camera, but I can't go back and do that now. I'm going to have to wait until the wash is dry. So I might add that little bit of white off camera between the weeks. One of the very few things that I will do. Sometimes I tidy up or I pick up anything I've missed. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of Reichland Flesh Shade all of the gold just around the model. Being careful because some of this gold is very, very close to that known oil, and I do not, whoops, and I do not want to get known oil on the gold. So along there, just very gently add in the wash. It's going to give us a nice old kind of look to it. Go around the outside, just there, and then on the other side. Sword, I think I did catch a little bit of the non-oil, but it should be okay as long as I don't start moving the wash around too much. There we go. And then ever so gently this is going to be fun. No, I'm not going to do that. That's going to make a right mess. I will do that off camera as well. There's that there on the end of the sword there, and we're done for the night, I think. Right, so this guy needs to dry. I will get a picture of it on Instagram, and as if any of you follow me on my social media, I do, when I post to Instagram, it also goes to Twitter and it goes to Facebook at the same time. So if you haven't got Instagram, don't worry about it. I think he's doing alright, don't you? That's a reasonable kind of look for that model. He's coming together quite nicely. I'm pretty chuffed with this. I can't wait to see what the rest of this looks like when he's done. How cool is that look? I'm quite chuffed with that. For some reason it's not connected to any YouTube chat, so I'm not quite sure why. I do have you down here so you can carry on talking just for a few moments. Yeah, I like that. That's coming together really nicely. So like I said, I will go away and I'll do a touch more. Some of this that I forgot, I will do the white in the back here on those feathers, and I'll wash that. I'll just wash a couple of bits and pieces, but this won't change drastically between the two. And I might grab the Instagram picture once I've done that as well. But yeah, other than that, I think that's looking really well. So there we go. Yeah, I'll tell you what, let's see if I can prop him up a little bit so we can end the video. There we go. Lovely. Alright, brilliant. Well, thank you. It's been an interesting one tonight. It's 8:25 and I'm still live, so that's a really good thing. So I'm really happy with you. Thank you everybody for joining in the chat, whether you're still here or not. It's been absolutely a blast, and I'm really proud of how tonight's gone. It's been a fantastic week. I've gone over 50 subscribers, which is brilliant. I've got over 100 views on one of my videos, which is even better. So thank you all of you for joining along as you have been. I am really stoked to keep going how we're going. So the next time I know I will be live will be, well, the next time I know I hopefully will be live will be on Monday. If the Conquest magazine comes out, if it comes through my door, you will get a notification. I'll post a picture on Instagram saying it's through, so you'll see me live. So yeah, keep an eye out for that if it comes along. All of my social media is scrolling around the bottom, of course, as always, so you can catch me there if you've got any suggestions about what the next model should be, what the next project should be, or just generally what do you want to see from this channel. And so please feel free to message me and talk to me at any time. I will always get back to you as quick as I can, as soon as I notice the notifications come through. And as always, if you want to support the channel, there is the Patreon guys going across there. Feel free to join in on them from as little as $1 a month, where you'll also be able to get to vote on what the next project will be from the shortlist, as I've said many times this show. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much. It's been fantastic, and I really pleasure being it. Really happy that you've been here. I'm getting me tongue tied up now. Alright, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Alright, ta-ra guys.